Good evening and welcome to the Port St. Lucie Special Election Mayor Candidate Forum hosted by the League of Women Voters of St. Lucie County. I am Sabrina Taylor. I am the president of your local league. Just a few quick reminders before we get started. First of all, the vote by mail ballots are scheduled to be sent out on Friday, August 13th. You can return your mail-in ballot by mail, or you can hand deliver it. If you choose to mail it, please make sure you do so within about a 10 to 14 day time period to make sure that it is delivered on time. Your mail-in ballot must be received in the supervising elections office no later than 7 p.m. on August 27th. Early voting starts on September 11th, and there are 3 locations: the Paula A. Lewis Library, the Port St. Lucie Civic Center, and the Port St. Lucie Community Center. Lastly, Election Day is September 21. And we so thank you for making the time to join us this evening to learn about both of these candidates who are vying for the very important role of leading the beautiful city of Port St. Lucie. To learn more about the League of Women Voters and how you can get involved, please visit our website at www.lwvslc.org. So now, more importantly, on to the forum, because that's why you're here. So tonight, we will hear from 2 candidates who are running for mayor. The format will consist of a 90-second introduction by each candidate, followed by a series of questions that will be facilitated by our wonderful host. I'll introduce her in a moment. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. And once we get through the series of questions successfully, then the candidates will also have an opportunity for a 2-minute closing. The order of candidates was determined prior to us joining you all this evening. Make sure we understand that this is not a debate. So candidates will make their statements, and then we'll answer a series of questions. Candidates also will be alerted when they have 30 seconds remaining, and another alert will happen when their time is coming to an end. So our wonderful moderator this evening is Carol Wyatt. So Carol is the co-owner and operator of 3 radio stations: WPSL in Port St. Lucie, WSTU in Stewart, and WJAJNX, in Fort Pierce. Carol is also the president of WPSL's Christmas Kids of St. Lucie County. She is the past president of the Rotary Club of Port St. Lucie and is a member of the Port St. Lucie Business Women. Carol has many years in broadcasting, including as a reporter in Los Angeles prior to moving to Florida in 1993. That's been a little bit, Carol. We are so honored to have her as our candidate for a moderator for yet another year. And so now I'm going to go on mute and we're going to turn it over to Carol. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sabrina, and welcome to the League of Women Voters of St. Lucie County Candidate Forum. First of all, we thank the members of the League for developing the questions for tonight. We thank the candidates for participating, and mostly we thank you for watching, for listening, for informing yourselves about the upcoming special election in Port St. Lucie in what continues to be a pretty challenging time. This evening, candidates for mayor of Port St. Lucie. It is a citywide special election following the resignation of Mayor Greg Orvac. It fills the remainder of that term. It is a nonpartisan race, and our candidates are Shannon Martin and Edgar E.J. Bernier. Now, we determined on a little coin toss here that Shannon Martin would go first. So we begin with opening statements, 1 minute and 30 seconds, starting with Shannon Martin.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and Carol, to you for moderating it today. I've been a resident of Port St. Lucie for the last 15 years. I've been married to my husband, Aaron, for 20 years, and he is a Port St. Lucie police sergeant. We have 2 beautiful kids who are 18 and 17 years of age, one going to IRSC and the other a senior in Treasure Coast High. And I've been proudly serving the residents of Port St. Lucie since 2010 as councilwoman, and in 2016, I was appointed as vice mayor by former Mayor Orvik. And since that time, our city has gone through a lot. We've had a lot of issues to overcome, and I'm very proud to say that I've been part of that process that has brought our city to where it is today. Our council has been working as a very cohesive unit, addressing pretty much every issue under the sun that we could possibly address and to make things better for our community. And I am just so honored by the support that I have received. And I want to continue serving all of you as your next mayor of Port St. Lucie. I'm really honored to have received the support from our former mayor, from our council members, and many other organizations as well. And I just so look forward to continue my service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. An opening statement, Mr. Bernier.
Well, thank you so much. First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for the forum. I want to thank Shannon for participating in this forum, and also for all those that are tuning in. You know, people ask me why I'm running for this position, and the fact is I love the city. We put roots in Port St. Lucie. I got two beautiful boys. One of them is in public school. The other one's too young for public school yet. I got a lovely wife who works in the public school system as a speech pathologist. I was born in Fort Pierce, raised on the Treasure Coast my whole life. After high school, I went to the Marine Corps, served in the Marine Corps for 3 years. And after that, went to college and decided to become a firefighter. I've been serving our community as a firefighter paramedic since 2008. It's a calling. I love doing it. And so I'm doing it because I love the city, and I'm really concerned about our direction. You know, our growth, how it impacts our environment, how it impacts our quality of life. You know, Port St. Lucie, last 25 years, really gone from a sleepy bedroom community to the 7th largest city in Florida when it comes to population. You know, you're gonna hear a lot about different plans here. The issue's never been about a lack of plans. I think the issue's always been a lack of vision. And when you have a vision that doesn't unify plans, we're gonna have out of control growth. So we need a mayor that can unify our council with leadership and focus on making that vision. Thank you.
Okay, so you mentioned we'll start, first question goes to Shannon Martin. After that, we will go back and forth with who has the first question. So starting with Ms. Martin, at its current rate of increase, the population of Port St. Lucie is projected to pass 250,000 within the next 5 years. So how do you plan to accommodate this increase while also addressing the infrastructure problems of the older areas of town?
So we are addressing those issues, and to say we have a lack of vision is very disingenuous. Our council has had a vision for many years, and we formulated that vision through our very important and citizen-driven city strategic plan. And all of our plans that we have that we execute and implement on a daily basis are part of that. We have a stormwater master plan, which talks about the needs for our community over the next 10 to 15 years. We have a road infrastructure plan that we are working on. We're dealing with our infrastructure. We're doing Florster Drive right now. PSL Boulevard South is going to be starting this fall. And we have many, many half-cent sales tax projects and other roadway projects that we're dealing with and addressing. And in addition to that, we have a 2045 transportation plan through our transportation planning organization, which I have been a member of for the past 10 years. And that takes a look out to 2045 about what our needs are going to be for transportation and for mobility and for addressing those needs. All these needs are going to be addressed. We are taking care of them by having not only our stormwater master plan and the 2045 plan. We have a sidewalk master plan, which is implemented on a very regular basis. Our road repaving plan is in progress right now. We have done 25 miles of roads repaving this year. So to say that we don't have a vision and to say that we aren't working on these things is completely wrong. And it just goes to show the lack of knowledge that my opponent has in knowing what's going on in the city.
E.J. Bernier, addressing infrastructure at the same time growth.
Sure. Well, you know, when it comes to growth, we got to make sure that we protect our environment. The environment in our area is a unique ecosystem. For a lot of people, it's a way of life. And so we got to make sure we protect that. At the same time, we also got to make sure we don't run away from past issues like the city center, making sure that we don't make sure we not just pay attention to the western side of the city, but also the eastern side of the city. I've talked to a lot of people on the eastern side of the city, and they feel that they're being neglected. I think the biggest thing is we need to prioritize community infrastructure. Sidewalks, streetlights, bike lanes. I drive to work every third morning, and I see a lot of kids that have to stay in the street wait for the bus. It's not safe. It's dark. There's no streetlights there, and so we really got to work on that. And we're about to witness a huge upcoming investment infrastructure in our nation's public infrastructure. And I think at Port St. Lucie, we need to make sure that we capitalize on that and make sure that we get the state and federal funds that will come from that bill. And I will do that from day one and not just wait for an election to roll around. So to make sure that we protect our environment, we manage our growth in the future, we also take care of neglected neighborhoods that feel they're being left behind. And I think that's the most important thing we can do.
Okay, next question. We'll start with Mr. Bernier. Developing the environment. Developing an area growing in population often negatively impacts the area's environment. So our environment and ecosystem are some of Port St. Lucie's most appealing attributes for both visitors and for residents, as well as for economic resources. Therefore, maintaining the health of the environment is important. What are your top 3 environmental priorities for the city, and how will you implement them?
Sure. Well, like I said before, our unique ecosystem, St. Lucie River, our estuaries, I go kayaking with my son. And for a lot of people, it's a way of living our environment, and especially our ecotourism is really popular. And I'm a big proponent of ecotourism because I think when people actually enjoy our environment and take ownership in it, they want to protect it. In the future, making sure that we use city buildings, using solar panels to try to use as much renewable energy as possible, putting up EV charging stations around the city, on city property, making incentives for businesses to do the same. And also just making sure that future projects that we do the studies and make sure they don't impact our environments in a negative way. When it comes to landscaping, incentivizing people to use native vegetation for landscaping, uses less water, uses less fertilizer, which means less pollution in our canals. So all our canals, they run into our estuaries. And that's why actually I do support the water project at Mccarty Ranch. I think, it's a great project and continue doing that. So just making sure that with future projects, we do the utmost studying on how it's going to impact our environment, protecting our waterways, and making sure that it's something that people can enjoy for generations.
Okay, for Shannon Martin, your top 3 environmental priorities, and how would you implement them?
So we have been working on water quality issues and environmental issues in the city of Port St. Lucie for many years. One of the most important projects we did was our Eastern Watershed Improvement Project to address water quality and to address flooding issues as well. Our Stormwater Master Plan encompasses over $130 million of future stormwater projects that need to get done. And almost every single one of those encapsulates a water quality component. And that is how we are leveraging the grants that we are receiving from the state and other agencies as well. We don't just look at our normal city funding, we look at ways that we can make sure that we're leveraging all of our funds. The Mccarty Ranch project has been our biggest project that we have been focusing on to address water quality. And we have partnered with the state over several years since 2017, and we continuously get grant funding to get that project continuously moving. We have 7 phases of that project. Our first 3 phases are now complete, and we are pulling water out of the C23 canal, and we are cleaning that water, and we're going to be able to store it for future water supply and also put it back into the now clean. So it goes out to our estuaries and it goes out into our river, and we have clean water going out into our river and taking out those nutrients that are destroying our estuaries and our ecosystem. The other really important project that we've been working on, which we did a microbial tracking study on, is our septic to sewer program. And we have increased funding in our budget. We are targeting homes that are within the radius of the river, close radius of the river. And we're offering programs to our residents to help mitigate the cost of converting, because we know how important it is to convert those septic tanks over to our sewer system. So we've been working on all of these things, and we will continue to do so under my leadership.
Okay, next question to Shannon Martin. Recently, it's become clear the nation is in a labor shortage, and Port St. Lucie is not sheltered from that shortage. Local businesses are struggling to find skilled workers, which negatively impacts their ability to stay in business. So what do you propose the city can do to help businesses and workers through this time?
We have been working very hard on this issue. We have partnered with the Chamber of Commerce. We have partnered with the SBDC and IRSC and leveraged every small business opportunity we can. We've given grants out through the funding, the state and federal funding that we have received, and we're going to continue to do that. Our small businesses are the backbone of our community. They're the heart of our community, and they've always have been. And we're going to continue to working with our partners to make sure that we're addressing the needs in the small business community. So much so that just this year at our city council retreat that we had a couple weeks ago, we were talking about instituting a small business office in the past to help with our business navigator and with the projects that are coming in as far as new businesses and other economic development projects as well. And what we decided to do, and to take a proactive approach, is really partner more with the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce and give them an allocation of funding, because they're the true experts on small business, and with our local SBDC, our Small Business Development Group, and IRSC. And so we want to make sure that we're allocating that funding to them, because they have the experts that can help all of our small businesses succeed and help them through the process of learning on what they need to do to be successful. In addition, our building department has been holding trainings for many, many years for all the different types of businesses in our community to help them thrive, to teach them what they need to do to be successful in Port St. Lucie, to teach them what the codes are and what they're going to need to have their businesses come out of the ground, or make sure that they're having the right infrastructure in those businesses there. And so we're doing everything we can to partner with our small business community, because they are so important to us, and we're going to continue to do that.
Okay, EJ Bernier, what can the city do to help businesses and workers in a labor shortage?
Well, yeah, we do have a labor shortage right now. When it comes to Port St. Lucie and other cities, it's not unique to Port St. Lucie. And so at the same time, when I talk to some business leaders, especially when it comes to manufacturing and things like that, the labor force here is lagging behind some of our communities, and we have some great hardworking people in Port St. Lucie. So the way we do that, and Shannon mentioned it, and I would support that, partnering with IRSC. But I just think more needs to be done, especially when it comes to, we talk about the job corridor, the Southern Grove job corridor. We have a lot of jobs there that are really specific when it comes to the medical area and healthcare. And then we also have a lot of retail service jobs like Panda Express and Culver's. We also need to bring in other types of jobs like manufacturing and jobs that provide better wages for the majority of people in our population that may not be so specific in healthcare, but also are more skilled than working in some of our retail establishments. And I would never shy away from bringing companies here. I mean, jobs are jobs, but we need to bring better jobs, better paying jobs with better benefits.
Okay, next question, starting with EJ Bernier. In your opinion, how important is the Florida home rule in city government and the city council's ability to execute ordinances, codes, and other official actions when the state and county laws and codes do not adequately address a city's specific needs? Right.
Home rule is so important. And unfortunately, right now, we're seeing that being eroded at the state level. Nobody knows his community better than his local leaders. And, I'm pretty sure that Shannon knows more about her local community than the governor does. But unfortunately, a lot of our school districts, like our school district and our city council and our county commissioners, are being hand-tied by Tallahassee. So, I think it's important that cities fight for home rule, do whatever is possible to achieve home rule. If that means litigation, that's fine. We got to stand up for our communities. We got to stand up for what is best for our unique situations we have in our communities. And so I'm a huge proponent of home rule, and I'll fight for it.
Okay, Shannon Martin, how important Florida home rule?
Home rule is vitally important to each and every community, especially our community here. Being able to talk to our residents, meet them in the grocery stores, meet them at church, and talk about what is so important to them and be able to relay that to our legislators is so important. And when we have that opportunity to go up to Tallahassee and to talk to our legislative delegation, it's great to have those relationships where you can walk in, you can sit down and have that ability to say, hey, this is what's going on in my city. This is what's going on in Port St. Lucie. This is how it's negatively affecting our community, and we need your help. And we have a great legislative delegation. They're always open and they're always willing to listen. I've traveled to Tallahassee. I've done the work of meeting with our legislators, both locally and around the state of Florida, to address needs and to make sure that they're hearing our voice. Partnering and being a part of the Florida League of Cities is another very important role to have, in being on a policy committee, so you know where the direction of the state is going and you know where the direction of the local leaders are going, and working with them to see what's important in others in cities and towns, so that you can band together and make change and make things happen at the state level. And I've done that. I've been on several policy committees over the years. I will be traveling to Tallahassee again this year to make sure that our leaders in the state level know what's important to us. Thank you.
Okay, next question, starting with Shannon Martin. What is the plan to work more collaboratively with other public agencies like the school board or the health department?
So we have worked very collaboratively with our school board. We promote them as much as we possibly can. We invite them into our city council retreats to get a good vision from them on what's happening and what their needs are. When we had issues with regard to our skills gap and we knew that we need to start talking about trades, our school board was very responsive to us. And now, as you can see through the partnership and the things that we've been doing, you see now that there are more and more trades and more other opportunities other than college for kids now than ever before. And I just recently went to the Treasure Coast Business Summit and saw the different programs that were happening there. We've partnered really well with our health department with regard to COVID. We've offered very many points of distribution we've partnered with our local doctor, Dr. Mark Paymer, who's been excellent in providing vaccines all across our city. And so we've worked in concert with them on every level to make sure that we're addressing the needs of our community. These interactions with our other agencies are so important, and it's vital to have those good relationships and keep them going, because it takes all of us working together to make our community the very best it can be.
Okay, Mr. Bernier, working collaboratively with other public agencies.
Absolutely. I think it's really important that we do work with other, including the county, county commission, and make sure we have a working relationship with our school district. To make sure that we back them up, when it comes to decisions, especially when it comes down to fight for home rule. I think we need to unify with our school district, with our county commission, and to make sure to know that the county, the city, the school board won't be bullied. And so, but collaborative efforts with the school district when it comes to dual enrollment, bringing recommendations to skills training. So it's absolutely important. Not only that, though, businesses, when they look for places to set up shop, good paying businesses, manufacturing, healthcare, they want to go to a place where all the entities are working in harmony. They don't want to go to a place where the county and the city are fighting, fighting about impact fee or fighting about other issues. They want to make sure that they're working together. And so I think it's important that that they do work together to make sure we can bring those opportunities to our area.
Okay, next question starts with Mr. Bernier. Students living within 2 miles of their school are not eligible for free bus transportation. Safe Routes to Schools is a Florida Department of Transportation program that helps municipalities provide safe routes across busy intersections and underdeveloped areas. To your knowledge, what plans exist to address this issue? What additional efforts should be made?
Well, this is where, I think it needs to come up to the local community, the school board to really hash it out. And when it comes to transportation, I'm also concerned about charter schools not be on the same level playing field as public schools. I know we have a charter school in our area that doesn't require busing, and they fought that, and the school board lost. So to make sure that we have easy transportation for kids to get to their school is so important. And there are a lot of programs out there that I would support. I have to look at them specifically to see if it meets the goals when it comes to providing quality transportation. But absolutely, it's important that kids, not only that though, the safety of not just kids getting on the bus, but the kids wait for the bus. And that's what I'm really concerned about as well.
Okay, for Shannon Martin, addressing safe routes for school children.
So the bus issue with the 2 mile radius really is a school board issue. It really isn't a city issue that we deal with. That's for them to work on and decide. However, when it comes to partnering with them for support and any changes that they want to make at the state level, we're there for them. They know that we are in partnership with them, and they could come to us at any time and talk about those issues for any type of support they need to get things changed at that level. We're always open to that because that collaboration is so important.
Okay, next question to Shannon Martin. In your opinion, what are the 2 biggest issues in Port St. Lucie that must be addressed for a successful experience for all citizens of the city?
So we have more than 2 top priorities. We're too big a city to have only 2. So going forward, continuing to lower our tax rate to keep things affordable for our residents. We've lowered the tax rate for the last 6 years and we'll continue to keep doing that. Master planning city center, once we take title to those properties in the next month, to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the east side of the city and ensuring proper development on that end. Keeping Port St. Lucie safe, clean, and beautiful is something that's vitally important because we want to maintain our safest city status. Continuing to address our infrastructure needs, addressing our stormwater, addressing our water quality and our septic to sewer program, quality of life issues. We're deficient in parks. We're still a young city. We are outpacing the growth with regard to the needs for recreational opportunities, and we're working on have a master plan on that for 2 regional parks coming out of the ground in the next few years. And of course, managing our growth and continuing to be fiscally responsible. We've done a good job of managing our growth with balancing the priorities that we have, of all the different priorities for such a large city, and we're going to continue to do that. And making sure that all of our departments and our city and people in the city have the resources that they need in order to do that. And our mobility plan, our residents said that multimodal and looking at different ways to get around the city is something that's going to be important to them for the future. So we have a plan in place for that, and we're going to continue working on that as well. Again, and also our jobs corridor. Our jobs corridor is vitally important to the future of our city, and it's not just medical. We do have manufacturing out there. TAMCO is a huge facility that provides manufacturing lighting components all across the globe. We're continuing to address all different types of economic development. And it's not just workers that only make $15 an hour, which is the minimum. We have workers that are making much more and above the median wage.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Bernier, 2 biggest issues for all citizens of Port St. Lucie.
Well, I'm gonna have to actually agree with Shannon. We have more than 2 huge issues, but I'm gonna go with the top. I'm gonna try to say 2, maybe 3. Community infrastructure. I think I already covered that. Making sure that our community is safe for pedestrians. Make sure that there's lights, street lights. It's not a mystery that street lights deter crime. Making sure kids can safely get back and forth from their home to the bus stops. Making sure that there's bike lanes for people that like to enjoy biking, that's a safe way to do it on our streets. You know, when it comes to managing our growth, you know, we haven't been successful in managing our growth, especially in the past 10, 15 years. And when it comes to experience, you know, not all experience is good experience. You know, it isn't. Before Greg became mayor, you know, you look at TCP archives, the city council was a mess, and there were a huge hole blown in the budget. And so to tackle that, they put the burden on our residents in 2015 with an 18% tax hike. And since then, they've been giving out little tiny incremental tax cuts to say they're cutting taxes. But the truth is, we're not back where we were in 2015. And a lot of these tax cuts don't even go back to the rollback rate. So people aren't really saving money out of their pockets. And on top of that, the environment, you know, that's what makes Port St. Lucie, Port St. Lucie, making sure that our environment is intact, is protected. People can enjoy fishing, boating, and not worry about, you know, these toxic discharges, which is a state issue. But we can partner with the state and work on that issue.
Okay, we are on Facebook Live, and we do have the opportunity to take some questions from our audience. So the first one, and we'll be going to Mr. Bernier.
Sure.
First from Facebook, how can you reassure voters that your campaign donors will not dictate the decisions that you make?
That's hugely important. If you can, you know, anybody can go on, it's public record on the donors, and you can see that our campaign is a true grassroots effort. You know, the past 20, 25 years, like I said before, Port St. Lucie has grown exponentially. And outside developers have taken notice. And so what you're having is you have a lot of outside developers that really, you know, where they're at in South Florida, they can't expand anymore. You know, they've already created their concrete paradise down there, and they want to do the same here. And to make sure that that our decisions are based on what the people want and not exactly what our donors want. And I haven't taken any money from outside developers from outside Port St. Lucie, and I don't plan to. And honestly, they're probably not going to give me any money anyways, because they know that I may not be totally friendly towards you know, uncontrolled growth with no management and no sustainability. So that's how, you know, I'm going to listen to the people, especially the people that put me in office. I go door to door. I've been going door to door for the past month and a half almost, talking to people, and I really get a good sense of what the people want and what the needs are of the community.
Okay, same question to Shannon Martin. How do you make sure donors don't dictate decisions?
I have been elected 3 terms, and I now am running for mayor. At no time ever has any special interest or developer ever dictated my decision-making in the city of Port St. Lucie. It has always been about the residents for me, what the residents want, and what the residents need, and balancing those priorities based on the size city that we have. So no one will ever sway me in any way with any campaign donation whatsoever to make a decision that is against what's in the best interest of the residents of this city. Because I love our city, and I don't serve developers, I don't serve companies. Is completely tailored around making sure that we are addressing the needs and wants of our residents. And also, we do the highest level of public engagement, I think, of any city that I have seen. And yes, in 2010, was it a rough time? Absolutely. Was the city in a lot of turmoil? Yes, it was. But I was part of that team that made Port St. Lucie where it is today. And I want to continue doing that for our residents, because they are the ones that are important. And they're the ones that I will continue to serve very proudly as we move forward.
Okay, we have another question that comes from our Facebook audience. What is your, we'll come back to Shannon Martin. What is your plan to revitalize US 1, specifically the empty shops and plazas?
So we are, as you know, City Center. We have it out there. The SEC receiver has control. We've recently negotiated to purchase that property so we can make sure that we're master planning it correctly for future development, similarly to what we did in Southern Grove, which is very successful. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out to our community. We're going to partner with the Treasure Coast Region Planning Council once again, and we are going to invite their team, their economists in, and they're going to work on a master plan based on all of our stakeholders' input, based on our citizens' input, to see what we can do to make the east side of the city better than it ever was. And we're going to redevelop it, and we're going to make it very successful. We were really successful in Southern Grove, and we're going to do that again. We're also working on our Village Green corridor and looking at ways to enhance and improve that. Our CRA development director has been meeting with the business owners out in that community. Several of us on council have been meeting with the business owners out in that area. And we are taking everything that they have to say into consideration to make sure we're developing the east side in the way that is best fitting for the city of Port St. Lucie.
Okay, Mr. Bernier, revitalizing US 1, especially the empty stores.
Sure. You know, I've been real lucky to have the opportunity to talk to some of these business owners and even the workers that work there, and they do feel like they're being neglected. They do feel all the focus is being on the southwest area of Port St. Lucie. You know, it's important that we develop. You know, we already went down a road with the city center, the civic center. You know, we need to build on that. I know I was up in Knoxville just looking at how they did their downtown. Is actually kind of similar. I know you can't, the environment of Knoxville is a lot different than Port St. Lucie, but one thing is they do have in common that it's a downtown area that's not on the water, it's not on the river, and they were able to do it fine. So to build on what we already have, and to make sure that the business owners and the residents of the east side of Port St. Lucie, they feel neglected as well, and to make sure that we understand that we're serving every single part of Port St. Lucie. And develop that. You know, I have no problem developing the Village Green corridor, but it's been 10 years, and really that area hasn't changed one bit. So I think it's imperative that we get that vision and we work on it as soon as possible.
Okay, and we have another question from our Facebook audience, and we'll come back to Mr. Bernier. In the news now, our governor has restricted school boards for making decisions for the health and safety of students. Do you consider this overreach or a violation of home rule?
Absolutely, absolutely. I got, you know, me and my wife are both vaccinated, but our kids can't get vaccinated. And we also have kids in, even if they're older than 12, we have kids in our school that are, for health, whatever health reasons, are not, you know, able to get the vaccine. So, you know, to whatever, the school board needs to make decisions on how to keep our students safe. And it is absolutely an overreach of our governor to do that. I think it's important that that our local officials also say that too. And I challenge Shannon to say that as well. It's an overreach.
Shannon Martin, is it overreach or a violation of home rule?
Well, technically it is. We have home rule powers, and we should be able to make decisions on what's best for our community. Our governor has decided not to do that, and that was his choice. But parents can make the decisions for their children. I know there are many teens that are getting vaccinated. We just had a point of distribution for the COVID vaccine at Somerset Preparatory Academy, and there were over 113 people who signed up for and got the COVID vaccine. And I've been told that majority of those were students. So we're going to continue to provide our opportunities that we can to keep our citizens safe and to make sure that we're giving them access. And it's up to the school board to make the decision what they want to do with regard to schools and any mandates with regard to what happens in schools.
Okay, we have an active Facebook Live audience tonight, and we have another question. We're coming back to Shannon Martin. Will you support the development of a downtown? And if so, where?
So this is a topic that we have talked about for many years. The old plan was to make city center the downtown area. But To go back and rebuild an entire downtown when you haven't had one tends to be problematic. So what we focused on, because we have several different areas of the city that have either lifestyle hubs or entertainment hubs, is to focus on those lifestyle centers like we have in St. Lucie West and Tradition. And then the other thing that we're looking to do, which has been very important and has really gone through a very rigorous stakeholder process with our citizens, is finally putting the port in Port St. Lucie and focusing on our river and focusing on the area south of the Botanical Gardens to make sure that we're addressing some of those needs and really building that collaborative area where we can make something very special down there. We actually just approved the Port District Master Plan, which doesn't just encompass that area, but goes all the way up past Lingate Park, so that we can have a complete plan in place to provide access for people to enjoy the river, possibly have entertaining opportunities with the restaurants on the river, enjoy nature trails, put in some more memorial areas and park areas. So we have that as another hub where people can go. And then again, like I said, we're going to be master planning the city center parcels. And so we'll be looking to see what the outcome is there to put in some mixed use facilities so we can provide that type of lifestyle center, entertainment hub, and a little bit of a downtown feel. But to go back and put in a downtown in one specific area where one has never existed, that's really not realistic for the future of the city.
Okay, EJ Bernier, downtown, and would you support it? And if so, where?
Absolutely, I do support downtown, and I support a downtown that unifies the whole city, and that's why I don't mind having little areas here and there around the city, but I think it's important when it comes to the actual downtown, the main area where people go for amenities and entertainment, I think should be one area to unify the city. And also go when it comes to planning our growth, we got to make sure that we leave areas for a downtown. A lot of, I hear a lot that we can't really control residential growth and so on and so forth. It's just 2020 in October with the future land use element. They're putting, what was it, 30,000 more acres of residential, of low density residential. So we got to make sure we actually have the area to put it downtown. And I do support going where the city center is, because we already invested some money there. And we have the parking garage there already that's never used. So I think it is a viable option to use the city center as a downtown. It's important. Listen, people all over our city work hard and they end up going other places for entertainment. I think it's time that they actually come to Port St. Lucie and support local jobs by having a viable downtown. I think it's super important.
Okay, and we have another question from our Facebook audience. A long one here. A few years ago, there was an uproar about the Muslim community buying a church and converting it into a mosque. The sale did not go through. However, the Muslim community will be looking again. How do you address the naysayers who don't want the Muslim community to open a mosque in Port St. Lucie? Coming back to Mr. Bernier.
I think it's super important to have diversity in our community. I think it's super important that a house of worship, just, the ability for them to put their house of worship up, I think is important. They have every right to put their house of worship as a Lutheran church or Episcopalian church or a temple. So no, I absolutely support them having a place to call home when it comes to their spiritual and religious practices. Absolutely.
Okay, Shannon Martin, how would you address the issue of a mosque in Port St. Lucie?
So freedom of religion is defined in our Constitution, and it's something that is very important. And I think the way to address it is just bring people together and have the tough conversations and listen to one another. If there's different and opposing sides of what may be proposed and what's going on, sit in a room together, have a conversation, have as many people there as possible to talk about it and to learn and grow from each other, and let's talk about it as adults and as a community, all for the purpose of working together for the betterment of our community. That's how you address problems, is you work with people, not just to look at your side, one side. You want to sit with people and have conversations, be open and honest, and listen to all sides before you're making decisions. And I think that's one of the issues that we have today that's so problematic, is that people aren't willing to sit down together, have a conversation, and learn and grow from one another in order to make the best decision. And in this role, in this job, one thing that it has taught me very well is that it is so vitally important to make sure that we listen to one another, we talk to one another, we find ways to work together, because that's what makes our city and our entire county and our community the best it possibly can be.
We have come to the end of our questions, both from our Facebook Live audience and from the League of Women Voters. So now time for closing statements, and we begin with Shannon Martin.
Thank you so much again for hosting this forum and for having me here today. And I want to thank everyone who is participating in this process and listening. You know, voting is so important for your elected leaders, especially here at our local level. And I truly love our city. I am so passionate about Port St. Lucie and serving our community. We have a lot of great things going on. We've accomplished a lot of great things, but we have a lot of great things and important things and challenges to work on over the next several years. And I am the only candidate that has been there listening, watching, learning. I'm the only candidate with the experience needed to continue leading our city forward in the right direction. My opponent hasn't attended city functions. He hasn't attended city council meetings. He hasn't attended city workshops. He doesn't really know the issues. You can read as much as you want on a city website, but you don't know the issues and you don't know how to address them unless you're doing it and you're working it and you're learning and growing from it, working with our community. I've prepared for this role for several years now, and I've never been more ready to be your next mayor. And I really hope that each and every one of you will consider supporting me, and I humbly ask for your vote on September 21st. Together working, we can make Port St. Lucie the best it possibly can be. Thank you.
Closing statement, EJ Bernier.
Sure. You know, when our campaign, our slogan is "Our City, Our Future," and I have, you know, especially in the last year in COVID, I have maybe attended virtually to city council meetings, but you know, when it comes to being involved in our community, I'm very involved in our community. That's my life's work. When it comes to firefighter, paramedic, I'm in our community talking to people all the time. A lot of times it's on their worst day. To say that I'm not involved in my community is just not genuine. It's not right. You know, and experience is not always good experience. And to make sure that we have a city council that listens to the people, not just out of town interest, make sure that the issues that people really care about, sidewalk lights, the down to earth issues that people really talk about, and we need to address those. So I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having this. I want to thank Shannon for participating, and I'm looking forward to the campaign. And you know, I urge everybody to vote, no matter if it's for me or for Shannon, to vote, to go out there and to exercise your constitutional right and make your voice be heard. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We thank both of the candidates for participating tonight, the special election for Mayor of Port St. Lucie. We need to thank the members of the League of Women Voters for developing the questions, and thank our listeners, our viewers, for informing yourselves about the special election in Port St. Lucie. Next up tomorrow night, meet the 6 candidates for Port St. Lucie City Council District 3. Sabrina?
Thank you so much, Carol. And thank you again, Shannon and the EJ, for making time not only to spend with us, but more importantly, to spend with the very important community in Port St. Lucie, again, as they make this decision to select one of you to be the leader of this great city of Port St. Lucie. So with that said, just one more announcement before we bid you all a very safe good night. In the very near future, Fort Pierce also will be hosting a special election sometime very soon. And guess what? The League of Women Voters will be involved in that too. So we hope to see you soon. Definitely look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Be safe, stay well, and good night.